referee's obviously important to the game, but he's someone that you don't want to see in the context. You want to see the players, you want to see good football, and hopefully we'll get that this evening.
Okay, Tony, Brent, thank you very much indeed. The teams are on their way. Let's see how this young Ulster team can get on against Munster tonight at Thomond Park in the company of Reggie Corrigan and Jim Neely.
Dan Toohey winning his 109th Ulster cap, and for the very first time in his distinguished career at Ravenhill, but not at Ravenhill tonight, is to say he is captaining this Ulster side. People have said it's a second 15, but there's a distinct lack of experience there. 3 players survived from the starting lineup last week: Rob Herring, Andrew Warwick and Nick Williams at number 8 up front. But the main changes occur behind the scrum. It's a very unusual looking backline, and only Craig Gilroy has played in any way consistently for Ulster this season, and indeed is the only cap player behind the Ulster scrum. Big chance for Stuart McCluskey, and 2 for Lewis Stevenson, who's getting a wee bit on the grizzle side, but still appetite for this game. It's been a miserable old day here in Limerick. The rain has been coming down fairly steadily, and just almost right on cue it seems to be about to pick up. As a Munster side who know very well if they can win this game and win it convincingly, and if results elsewhere go their way, they could finish up not just in 3rd place, but possibly 2nd and possibly even 1st. But as the chaps in the studio mentioned, it's highly unlikely that Glasgow and indeed Leinster will blow their home games to keep themselves in positions number 1 and 2. It's a very strong Munster side. Rob Penny has made some 10 changes, but there's a great mixture of experience and up-and-coming players. Dave Kilcoyne, the skipper, Damien Varley in the front row, Irish internationals, the magnificent Paul O'Connell in the second row, and a pretty tasty-looking back row with Paddy Butler moving to number 6, and the former Ulster caddy man Sean Dougal on the open side. Behind the scrum, a lot of pace. Duncan Williams and Ian Keatley combined in half-back. Simon Zebo and the very useful Gerhard van der Heever are on the wings, and Felix Jones at full-back. And the referee, the man who's doing his, I reckon, 110th league game, is probably one of the best referees, if not the best referee in the world at the moment. Delighted to see Nigel Owens, who's no stranger. So it's Ulster and James McKinney to get this game underway. A little bit of a breeze, maybe just favouring Ulster at the moment. James Collin, now 33 years of age, takes it on. Duncan Williams gets it away. Good bit of support play by Big Dave Foley, who played with Lewis Stevenson in the opening game of the Tbilisi Cup last year. That's an interesting kick from Duncan Williams, and well covered by his namesake Nick Williams, no stranger to this particular ground, having had a couple of seasons here before moving to Erone. Michael Allen, Dan Toohey looking a little bit surprised to take that one. Heaney again, McKinney into the strong Stuart McCluskey, who gets across the gain line. Quick ball by Ulster, impressive start. Rob Herring, who's played a lot of games this season. Good first up Munster defence. Foley in there straight away, and that's the turnover, and away come Munster. So impressive start by Ulster, and then in not untypical fashion they give the ball away all too cheaply. Duncan Williams on the narrow side. Herring makes the tackle. Callum Black observing. Casey Lalala, right through the middle. Where was the Ulster defence? He cut between McComish and Toohey. Away goes Lalala. This could be a great start for Munster. James Collin tackled well by a couple of covering Ulster players. This is the quick man. He's very close to it, and just a foot in touch. And I think Reggie Corrigan, that just typifies what this Munster side is all about this evening.
Yeah, indeed, and we saw Sean Doyle rushing up out of the line to try and make a big impact tackle as the ball was moved out, but of course that caused a breach in the Ulster defensive line, and just meant that Lalala was able to find the gap through that and continue on down the line, and probably could have been finished just steps inside the bigger men there, and just could have been finished in the corner. But a good start from a Munster point of view, but Ulster managed to retain the ball well initially, but just too easy, and the turnover. Good work by Foley for Munster to get a turnover there.
Good covering across by Stuart McCluskey. Gerhard van der Heever, the 25-year-old from South Africa, played for Western Province. In the Kerry Cup final is a bit of a stoppage because one of the Munster players, I think, is having a bit of a problem with a contact lens, and it looks like the skipper Damien Varley. Interesting, with no Peter O'Mahony, Reg, Munster have opted for Varley to captain the side as opposed to the vastly experienced Paul O'Connell, the Irish captain.
Yeah, I think they probably just in at hooker, it's a good position to take control of things. He'll be taking control of the scrums at certain points as well, and then with his line out throwing, important that he can lead from there. So a good man to take over for the night.
Nigel Owens has said let's get on with it, even though there's a bit of an adjustment. Oh, that was well won by Munster on the Ulster throw. Here's James Collin. Doyle makes the initial tackle. Duncan Williams, protective headgear on as ever. Ulster trying to employ the choke tackle, and the referee has spotted something that he doesn't particularly like, and Ulster have got a penalty, and they'll be pretty relieved with that. So giving away a turnover ball cheaply and then losing their first line-out throw, not the greatest start for the men in white.
Yeah, difficult enough. The conditions are absolutely atrocious for lineouts tonight. The wind is swirling. I'm looking around, there's flags everywhere and no two are blowing in the same direction. It's kind of that sort of a night down here in Thomond. But yes, I mean, you know, they go for an option of coming forward at the front, and it was a pretty bad option considering that that's exactly where Munster had defenders and were putting them in the air. So they've got to box a little bit more cleverly.
James McKinney has found a decent touch, and because it was a full penalty, it's going to be another Ulster line-out. Rob Herring again. Ulster have taken a couple of players out of the line-out. That's a little bit better. Again, Toohey calls it to himself, and this time he'd moved back to his more familiar position of number 4. Heaney shaping to kick down this near touchline. Scuffed it a wee bit. Van der Heever. Well tackled by Rory Scholes, with good presentation by the South African. James Collin as ever in the forefront. Williams, Keatley, Felix Jones got in the act. Simon Zebo slipped it nicely to Lalala. Keatley saw that Scholes had advanced. And also leave it for the covering McKinney, who hasn't found his touch. Van der Heever, Keatley trying to get the man outside him into a little bit of space. Again, Scholes with a good tackle on his opposite number. And Nick Williams has pinched that, so that's one steal apiece. Good work by the former Munsterman against some of his old colleagues. Dudley Phillips on the near side just telling one or two people to get themselves back onside. Heaney again shaving to kick. He's put that right into the middle of the park, and there's nobody really chasing with any menace. Felix Jones, who will set off if he can. Sean Dougal, former Ulster Academy player, an Irish under-19 international, man who played his club rugby at Malone. And good covering yet again by Ulster. Nothing wrong with Ulster's defence now.
Yeah, the defence is very well organised. Great work there by Nick Williams. He managed to find the isolated player. Van der Heer had gone in, and Nick Williams just bided his time, got in brilliantly on his feet in a good position. But the Ulster defence, they've got themselves well organised. They're not competing all that much at the breakdown, but there isn't any real necessity to, because Munster are moving the ball away quickly from that breakdown area. So as long as they have the defence organised and they come up quickly in or around that sort of 9-10 channel, putting pressure in or around Keatley, they can be well organised there, and they seem to be well organised there on the outside channels as well. So, you know, for the moment, it's well organised. They just want to make sure that nobody shoots out of the line, Jim, and trying to creates those gaps that the likes of Lalala and players like that love so much.
Damien Varley once again having problems with the contact lenses. Well, Mark Anscombe must be reasonably happy. There's a smile on his face, flanked by Johnny Bell, Ulster's defence coach, and the video analyst Niall Malone, both former Irish internationals and Ulster players.
Okay, time on.
A contingent from the youngsters of the Bangor Rugby Club, who'll be entertaining us with some rugby at half-time. Here's Rob Herring again. 5.5 minutes gone, still no score. Ulster not getting the clean line-out ball, but they have won it. Andrew Warwick just steps back.
Away, Red!
Mike McCormick across the 10-metre line, and again Heaney.
Advantage over.
And that's for David McElwain to chase. That's hanging nicely in the wind, and well taken by Zebo. Gets away from the first tackle. Good presentation by Munster. Paul O'Connell just stands and has a good look. Varley seems to be fine. Now that's a bit on the loose side. Sean Dougal. Tackled by Ulster's Sean in the back row. Sean Doyle. Dougal, I think, has made it secure. And Munster will be forced into a clearance kick, and it's not a bad clearance kick at that.
Very good kick, very good clearance kick. Bad pass from Varley. He didn't even look to see where that ball was going and see where the players were outside. And Munster, they're trying to put some screen runners right in front of you. See there, he didn't even look to see where that pass was going to, and he didn't realise that Keatley wasn't in the position that he needed to be. But they're just trying to put some forward or some runners in front of where the pass is going, use those players as a screen and get the ball out wide and confuse the Ulster defence. Not a bad tactic, but just needs to be employed a little bit better.
Well, apart from a memorable Heineken Cup quarter-final win here a couple of seasons ago, Munster also haven't had much luck at Thomond Park. Play on, says the referee. Sloppy line-out play by Ulster. Dave Foley took full advantage. Williams, Keatley, bounced off an Ulster player, well taken in by Michael Allen. Don't think he was offside, but he was offside. He was just in front of the ball. It came off one of his fellow players, and then he gathered it. And I suppose your first reaction, Reggie, is to grab the ball without realising where you are in the park.
He was unfortunate, just ricocheted completely out to the right, and both he and Nick Williams had come forward in a defensive line to try and make cut down all the options on the outside, and the ball just happened to ricochet directly into his path, and his instinct took over and he grabbed it.
Well, what a very good kick by Munster's outside half, Ian Keatley. Capped twice for Ireland in the North American Tour almost 5 years ago. Hasn't really been close since. Well, it did come off Ulster's tight head, Andrew Warwick, and it went forward from him. And Michael Allen's instinctive grasp brought the penalty. Munster's line out plenty of options. O'Connell moves to the front. Bit of holding on there, I thought, by Ulster. Sean Doyle takes it forward. Stopped just short of the Ulster 22. Heaney to Dan Toohey. Black goes in and helps to make a bridge, and Ulster have lost it yet again. Very poor play at the breakdown by the visitors, and that's knocked forward. Referee waiting for Ulster advantage, and none is going to come. And after nearly 9 minutes, we're going to have the first scrum, and this should be interesting.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing this one. It's been a pretty scrappy affair so far. A lot of spill balls, a messed up line out is the only way to describe it from Munster. Miscommunication, two double movements, dummy movements, and it seemed like John Ryan didn't come in and lift his player where he needed to. But Ulster managed to get the turnover ball, but again, it's just being turned over so easily at the breakdown area. There's not going to be too many opportunities to turn over ball against a side like Munster down here, so you've got to make sure you protect it and hold on to it when you do get that opportunity. But as I said, the greasy ball, the windy conditions, everything just seems to be leading to a very scrappy start to this game.
Michael Heaney to put the ball in for Ulster, making just his third start of this season.
Set.
Nigel Owens says, yes, please put it in. It's not a bad Ulster scrum on their own put in. Good pick up by Nick Williams. Thought about the pass to Rory Scholes and changed his mind. But it's been set up by Ulster. And have they lost another turnover? Well, they've given away a penalty, which is even worse. It's not going right for Ulster on the deck.
First man in on his feet.
Yeah, again, as I said, mistakes and errors in that situation. It was a great scrum initially. He got the drive on, going forward. A good opportunity for Nick Williams to go off the base. Good clean ball at his feet. But when he went and he, I think that dummy pass and deciding to go himself meant that the support players weren't there to clear out quickly enough. And great work, I think, from Paddy Butler to get himself in there and get his hands on it. You just see it there in the replay. It was actually Paul O'Connell coming in and just getting in with a foot, just enough to slow things down, disrupt everything, and leave Nigel Owens with little choice but to give the penalty for holding on.
Paul O'Connell's been doing that sort of thing for about 100 years, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's quite experienced at it.
James Collins seems to have overcome a bit of an injury, and the touch judges have gone behind the Ulster post because it's been decided that Ian Keatley will look for the opening points of this game. Rob Penny. This game in a semi-final next week, and maybe the final, just one or possibly two more games in charge of Munster before he heads off. Nasty swirling wind, but Keatley should be well used to it by now here at Thomond Park. Giving that a nice little chip. That's a very good kick. And Ian Keatley sticks it right between the Ulster posts. And we played 10.5 minutes and Munster 3-0 up, and they really have dominated.
Yeah, great kick by Keatley. cleverly kept it quite low, really, in terms of he drilled through the ball and didn't stick it up in the air where the wind could affect it too much. Short run up and a great kick. When, you know, if Ulster make easy mistakes and turn over ball to this Munster team, they could be in for that type of thing all night.
Straight into the welcoming arms of James Collin, who gets across the 22. Duncan Williams is the man who's going to put boot to it, and he does. That's a very tempting, testing kick, well taken by Craig Gilroy, playing at full back for Ulster for just the 3rd time this season. Munster really competing at the breakdown. Ulster will have to be sharper. Heaney gets it on the narrow side. Here goes Warwick. Impressive last month for the young prop from Ballymena. Nick Williams sets it up. Heaney again. The other prop, Callum Black, who up until he got injured against the Scots was having a very good season. Here's Tui. James McKinney. That's not a bad little kick. It bounces into touch. It's going to be a Munster line-out, and well, Ulster showing a little bit of inventiveness there.
Yeah, they're going through about 5 or 6 phases. It wasn't a bad option, that little kick through. Just a little bit unfortunate that it seemed to go slightly off the outside of the boot and just go into touch, albeit it bounced in. But if that had stayed in play and just bobbled inside Van Fleer, we would have seen quite a difficult one to deal with. So again, a little bit better in terms of retention, but Munster now in a good position to launch an attack again.
John Ryan at the back of the Munster line-out, only 5 men in it. O'Connell the main target. Tui nearly got a hand to it. That's gone loose, and all the way through goes Warwick, and I think he's just nudged it forward. Referee waiting for Munster advantage.
Stay white.
They've been pushed back inside their 22, but there's a pretty decent chance that they'll be able to clear this. That was a bit lofted, and that's another good clearance kick into a stiffish breeze by Keithley. It's a messy old game, isn't it? And I don't think it's helped because there's probably one of the smallest or one of the poorest crowds at Thomond Park that I can certainly remember for this fixture.
Yeah, it's certainly not the most intimidating place tonight. Anyway, that's for sure. You can rest assured that the Ulster players won't get an easier time of it in terms of the reception that they'll get here, because we really are talking about maybe 25% full stadium at the moment.
Knocked back, pulled in by Lewis Stevenson after the initial work by Callum Black. Stevenson goes to ground. Paddy Butler gets himself back onside. Here's Heaney. Andrew Warwick got the left shoulder in first. Quicker ball. Heaney. James McKinney had to check, and he's chipped it again for Nick Williams and Michael Allen to get underneath. Where's that going? It could go anywhere. And it's gone into the arms of Sean Dougal. Allen makes the tackle. Here's Laulala now. There may be a little bit of room here. Also good step by Laulala. He very nearly got through, but he's got it away. Munster on the charge. This is good stuff by Downey. Gets it inside to James Collin. Lovely transfer. It's going to be Williams all the way to the Ulster line. First try of the evening. As simple as that. Wonderful little piece of interplay between the Munster backs and forwards. And Duncan Williams gets in for his 3rd league try. Wonderfully created and very well finished.
Brilliantly done by Munster, and from nothing they turned that into a score into the corner with great play. It came initially from a little break from Laulala, who passed it inside to Keithley, and again, you know, Downey made the break, and he knew he had the wherewithal to know that Colin was inside him, and then Colin just took it on enough and able to pass it back inside to Duncan Williams, who was on the shoulder there just to finish it off. But it was great interplay from Munster, and you know, from very little, just from one small break where Laulala turned back inside and just took a step, McElwain got caught on his inside shoulder, and from that they were able to release the ball, and great continuity to finish that off into the corner.
Well, that certainly has lifted the whole tone of this game, particularly if you happen to be a Munster supporter. There's a usual hardcore of travelling Ulster support, but really not that many. So Keithley with a penalty already to stretch the Munster lead to 10 points. The right side of the field for him. The try scorer Duncan Williams acting as a placer. He's keeping the forefinger on that ball to stop it from tippling or toppling over. Little stab again. And another excellent kick. My word, he's in good form with the boot. So 15.5 minutes gone, and Munster now starting to pull away. 10-0 to the men in red.
That's a superb kick from the corner, and again we just see Laulala passing it back inside, and great breaks there as he looks, and the awareness of Downey to see Colin back inside. Great play from Munster.
But it was a straightforward run in for Duncan Williams, taken on the run by James Collin. It's given Munster a real confidence boost. I think they'd start to open up a little bit. Well driven forward by Paddy Butler, played number 8 last week.
Now.
And that very impressive 8-try romp against Edinburgh. Knocked forward, I think, by a Munster hand. Craig Gilroy was the man who came in to try to take it for Ulster. Referee still playing a bit of advantage. Michael Heaney on the narrow side, and he's got away. He looks outside him, and there is Allen back inside to Heaney. This could be a game-changing try, and as he got it over, they may well have to go upstairs to the TMO, Alan Rogan. But for my money, Michael Heaney's made the line.
I don't think there's any need to go upstairs on that one. A brilliant break from Heaney down the blind side. Being very aware of where the pillar defenders were. He seemed to reach back over his head as he hit the line. I think maybe the referee might just be checking to see if the pass prior to that was forward. That's probably the only issue that there may be with it. Doesn't look forward from the angle that I've seen there. And just as he gets towards the line, he shows great strength to keep himself on his feet and keep driving forward. It's this pass here that they'll probably want to check upstairs. A few groans going around the pitch, but the fourth official will have a better decision on that. Certainly no issue with the grounding of the ball.
You may award the try.
Okay, good. It's not clear enough.
Nice Loans goes over, and what is he saying? He's saying it's a try. So well done to Michael Heaney. His first Ulster try. Sure, that's a bride or a groom, hard to tell.
And it was brilliant awareness from Heaney. He realised that all of the Munster defenders had gone to the open side, expecting the ball to get moved that way. It initially had come from an error by Munster, and he just looked up and he saw the entire blind side open and had decided to have a little cut and have a go, and he got rewarded for it.
And like the Munster half-back combination, it's the try-scoring scrum half places the ball, and the outside half attempts to make the conversion. It's James McKinney, no headgear on. And again, it's a little chip by him, and it's a pretty successful one. Well, this game is back in not quite an even keel, but Ulster have come back in pretty decent fashion and are trailing by just 3 points.
You'd have to say it is against the run of play, though, and I know looking down at Paul O'Connell and Varley, they're not too impressed by the lack of defence that was on that blind side. I think you can expect a little bit of a backlash here from Munster for the next few moments.
Keeley's given it a fair old thump. Michael Wayne knocks it back, pulled in by Andrew Warwick. Good versatile young prop forward. Heaney. Gilroy was legging it up, and it's well taken by Felix Jones. James Collin, ever present and ever impressive, gets across the 10-metre line. Almost burst through that first tackle. Duncan Williams, Munster on the front foot. Here's Butler, nice sidestep by the flanker. Paul O'Connell, good offload by the veteran. He doesn't mind me saying that, I'm sure he won't. Down into Ulster's 22, Craig Gilroy.
Stay white.
Making great contact with that. Keatley gathers. Felix Jones is letting him know that he's outside him. There he is. That wasn't a good pass. Jones got the ball and Sean Doyle at the same time, and Ulster trying to hold the Munster full-back off the ground, and the referee says that's been successful, and it's going to be an Ulster scrummage. Good Ulster defence.
And that was excellent work by Doyle. He recognised that there were lacking defenders on the outside of him, so he decided to shoot up out of the line, and as he did, he made sure that Jones got man and ball at the same time. Then he continued to work, keep the ball up in the air. If he hadn't made that decision, then there was an overlap of about three Munster players on the outside, and Ulster were in serious trouble. So great decision from the flanker.
Middle 9. Middle. Shoulder. Same as that. Same as the last one. Come up. Stay there.
Leinster are 5-3 up against Edinburgh. The RDS and Glasgow are romping it against the Zebra. Glasgow with 31 internationals on their squad against Zebra, who had ambitions of finishing ahead of their Italian rivals Treviso and getting the 7th European qualifier. Good scrum by Munster initially, but the referee says they engaged and moved forward far too early. The engagement was fine, but they shunted forward before the ball was in, and Ulster will get the free kick. Now, if they kick the touch, which I don't think they're going to do, it will be a Munster line out, so they're going for the scrum again. But they need to tighten this one up.
A lot of pressure coming in on the tight head side on Warwick as we see Kilcoyne trying to drive up through and around on the left-hand side. So it's important that Warwick's second rows and his flankers work very hard with him on that tight head side to keep that side of the scrum at least square for this put in for Ulster.
Rory Scholes on the Ulster left wing looks on. There's that squeeze again, and Nick Williams picks it up and away he goes. Big one-handed handoff. Heaney goes in to help. They need a scrum half. McComish obliges. McKinney. Michael Allen, that's a clever little chip. Jones is going to have to go back, and it's gone loose, and he regathered it. Nothing wrong with that. Under a bit of pressure from Rory Scholes. And Munster back inside their 22. McCluskey doing a little bit of grappling, and that's pretty well cleared by Duncan Williams, the try scorer. And McKinney had a millisecond of a notion of maybe just passing it on early. Good play by Duncan Williams. Conor Murray on the bench alongside JJ Hanrahan. The two men who took the awards as player and junior player of the year in the recent Munster Awards dinner. No Andrew Trimble for Ulster tonight, the man who's lifted just about everything. 3 Ulster awards and the Arupa Player of the Year award, which is the important and voted for by his peers. Rob Herring. Well, that was dreadful. Somebody was closing the gap there. I think there's a free kick to Ulster.
Well spotted by Nigel Owens. Dave Foley just stepped right across and used the shoulder to take the jumper out as he was coming forward, right in front of the referee. And being the world-class referee that he is, he spotted it immediately.
Doesn't miss much, does our Nigel. McKinney. That's a good kick. And Dan Tuohy's pulled the Ulster forwards in, and he's having a little word with them.
I ask you to keep the space, okay?
For all the start that Munster have had, the scoreline is very much in Ulster's favour, and Tuohy should be talking to his players and saying, look, we're very much in this game. It's certainly not the worst place to be at the moment. We could get a scalp in Thomond. We need to focus on this and pick the game up a bit.
Ulster's line out. Oh, stolen by Foley. He's read that very well. That's the second clean steal, and Ulster will be ruining that. Dan Tuohy will have to think about his calls and where they're going, because Munster seem to be reading it very well at this stage. And Foley's certainly a man who's had a very good season, hasn't he?
I've noticed in these lineouts, they've made the call, and they've obviously gone through them in the training session, but there's no overriding cancel call. There was 3 different movements within the Ulster line out there, but if you look at it, they had Paul O'Connell and Foley set up to defend at the front and the middle. The obvious option is to just call a cancel and hit towards the back of the line out.
That's not straight. Ulster under a lot of pressure. Told it to Tuohy, the skipper, and it didn't go straight. Rob Herring just couldn't quite get his darts on the more accurate side, and it's going to be a Munster scrum. There's 23 minutes gone, 10-7 to the home side. No matter what happens, as I'm sure has been well documented, Ulster can't finish any higher than 4th, and they can't finish any lower than 4th, so stuck in 4th they are, and it may well be a trip to the RDS to play Leinster in the semi-final in a week's time. Precise dates and venues and kick-off times to be decided at the end of this evening's fixtures. All 6 Pro 12 games kicking off at 6:30 our time. In it goes, good Ulster squeeze on the Munster put in. Williams gets it away. Here's Van der Heever. Williams in again pretty quickly. Good tackle on the strong Casey Loilala, who's saying adieu to Munster at the end of this season. Hint of a bit of an overlap here. Here's Van der Heever again. Good tackle by Rob Herring, who as a former flanker is pretty mobile. Ulster up very quickly. Nick Williams came thundering up. Good tackle by Tuohy. Stevenson in there as well. Nicely presented though by Munster. Bit of width on it by Keatley. Lala offloads it and backhands it, and the referee's blown the whistle. And he's bringing them back for an offence, and I think it's an offence committed by Ulster, and there may well have been an offside in there somewhere.
I think it was Nick Williams flying up out of the line. He was just a little bit too anxious and miles offside.
Well, the concession of the penalty is going to give Munster the chance to get pretty deep into Ulster territory, and Keatley has been kicking well not just from the tee, but from the hand. And that's a very good kick. And one little offence and one little penalty has cost Ulster possession and about 50 metres in terms of territory.
That's exactly it. I mean, that's the problem. You make errors like that. There's no need. I mean, the defensive line was organised. They were in a good position. Let Munster try and create something instead of giving them a soft option to kick it 40 metres down the pitch and now having a brilliant attacking position.
Varley finds Foley. He finds Sean Dougal in attendance, and Varley's in at the back, and he's having a little glance just to see how far he is from the Ulster line. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that Munster could churn forward. How many times down the years have we seen them do that, and they're still going? That's nicely protected. Run comes Dave Kilcoyne, who's got a habit of scoring close-range tries. Duncan Williams, tackled by Sean Doyle, has been knocked forward by Munster. Referee's waiting for advantage to Ulster. Michael Allen picks it up and he gets away. Allen is gone now. He's up to halfway. I'm not sure he's got the pace to get past Zebo, but he's certainly using his strength. And the cavalry arrive and there's nobody there. Play on, says the referee. Bad play at the breakdown by Ulster. That was a high tackle by Nick Williams. Referee's not doing anything about it at this stage. Keatley tries to run round Lewis Stevenson. Doesn't have the gas. And Ulster have got themselves offside, and it's going to be another penalty. Well, there was a genuine half chance, if there's such a thing, for Ulster there with Michael Allen's break. And Nigel Owens has been pretty sympathetic to in terms of playing advantage.
Yeah, Michael Allen's break was fantastic. Good turnover, good work done defensively from an Ulster point of view, but his turn of pace, I mean, he picked up the ball, 3 people around him, and from nowhere he managed to find a gap and get himself through it. Yeah, that's been given for a high tackle. There's not a whole lot in it really. Nick Williams just put out a lazy arm and kind of grabbed him by the shoulder. Fair enough, picked up by the touch judge. The crowd reaction always helps in these situations. No real malice in it, but you know, I think the decision for a penalty is borderline.
I agree.
Yes, I think if that had been a regular shirt, he would have caught him by the yoke of the shirt. So I don't think there's anything in it. He said that was a wee bit high. I don't think Nigel Owens terribly worried about that in terms of it being a dangerous tackle. But what it has done, it's brought another penalty. Michael Allen, who made that pretty decent break, is getting a bit of treatment.
When you pulled it down there, they were perfect. You were down first man. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay, okay.
Keatley, what a very good kick. This is the Michael Allen break, yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, the step there was great. He saw Foley in front of him a second row and he realised quick feet move around him. Zebo came across well, but this is where, you know, they needed to have more support and a couple of players react quickly around him and clear that ball out, because it was a golden opportunity for them to move the ball and keep the pressure back down on Munster instead of being under pressure themselves.
Yeah, Michael Heaney went into support, so there was nobody at scrum half, and Ulster didn't pick that up. Taken by Tui. What a take by Tui. It's tit for tat stuff the line out, and Heaney, who's played well, doesn't find his touch. Van der Heever. That had been at Ravenhill, there would have been cries from the crowd for a forward pass, but I think it was okay. Keatley runs into a couple of white shirts. Plenty of red shirts arrived to help him. Paul O'Connell. Yes, where the ball is coming. Back on the Munster side, Duncan Williams. Taken by Mike McComish. Now Lala goes into scrum half. Here's O'Connell again. His appetite for the physical has never diminished in all the years he's been soldiering in the red of Munster and the Lions and the green of Ireland. Williams, Keatley had a bit of a readjustment. That's been knocked forward. Referee waiting for advantage, and I don't think any is going to come to Ulster. Well, Munster have gone off the boil a little bit, Reg.
Oh, they're incredibly flat now. That line-out was a perfect example of it. No pressure whatsoever. I mean, we have to account for the fact that the wind is swirling and it makes it very, very difficult for the hookers. But that throw literally didn't go above the prop at the front of the line-out's head, and so easy. Just, I think Tui just jumped up and kind of caught it around his stomach. And again, the option was to throw it where the defender was instead of trying to find space in the open where there are no defenders. So strange decisions. Game has gone very flat for both teams, bar the odd little break from individuals, but as a team and in terms of patterns, very, very flat. And Ulster actually look the more organised at the moment in terms of their defence. They probably need to start believing in themselves a little bit and try and put a bit of faith into their attack as well, and look for some players to start taking responsibility for that and just having a go. They've nothing to lose at this stage, nothing.
Well, there's nobody really saying very much in the Munster camp at the moment. A contemplative look in the face of the Ulster coach, Mark Anscombe. Johnny Bell is ever making notes.
This scrum again is crucially important from an Ulster point of view. You know, we spoke about Kilcoyne and the pressure that he's putting Warwick under, and there's no doubt that on the loose head side, that's where they're going to try and apply that pressure again in this scrum. So very important that he gets the support of his back row and his second rows.
Well, Warwick only starting on the tight head side of the Ulster scrum for the second time in his short representative career. That's not a bad scrum. Heaney gets it away. McCluskey had to check a little bit. Big strong fellow gets himself up to halfway. Nice presentation. Heaney, flat pass to the industrious Michael Allen. Heaney again, narrow side stuff. Rob Herring was the receiver. That's the halfway line. Ulster have crossed it. Nick Williams taken off at the ankles. Well played by Dave Kilcoyne.
Okay, number 5,
Heaney.
slip down, play on, he slipped to
Callum
the ground.
Black straight to ground, needs some support. He's got it. Heaney again.
I know you slipped, but yeah.
Tui. Michael McComish.
Keep your feet, lads.
Heaney had to scrabble that away. McKinney. Craig Gilroy. Munster fans will remember what he did here a couple of seasons ago in the Heineken Cup, one of the tries of the year. Warwick knocked it backward. Munster in quickly, and Munster have won it on the ground. Great work by Dave Foley. Williams, great chance here if Munster can put a bit of width on it, but Ulster's flat closing defence shut the whole thing down, and Felix Jones couldn't find a Munster colleague, but it's still there for the men in red. Duncan Williams gathers it. Well, Munster are quite literally taking their eye off the ball. That was forward. Nigel Owens there. I think he might have had a little bit of a beat on the near side from Dudley Phillips, but Munster really at 6s and 7s, and I have to say playing like under 14s at the minute.
Duncan Williams almost took Ian Keatley's head off. He wasn't even expecting it there. Suddenly from nowhere the ball was in front of him, and he picked it up. There was at least 3 other players who'd run the line that looked like they were getting the pass, and that didn't quite work out that way. But you know, the error count on both sides, both coaches will be very, very unhappy with the errors that are being made. Again, as you said there, in that last scrum from Ulster, slightly better, but it's going up on the loose head side because of the way that the pressure is coming on from Kilcoyne. I'd love to see Nick Williams, when that happens, actually go with the side that the scrum moves, because he's got no back row in front of him. That flanker is then out of play. He's got an open pitch to run at and just take advantage of the turn on the scrum. Instead, and we see this a lot with number 8s, they go against the turn of the scrum, and it just makes it so much easier for the defending back row in that open position, because they're just standing there waiting to make the tackle.
Well, options on both sides for Ulster.
Crouch.
Priority is winning the ball on their own scrummage.
Set. Hold, don't move, just don't move.
We'll just wait until they're steady, and then he signaled to Michael Heaney to put it in.
Hold there.
They're moving around, they're not steady. Go on, he says, a wee nod of the head, and it goes. Williams, that's the right thing to do. Here comes McKinney, he's got Allen with him. Rory Scholes is outside him. It was Downey with the tackle. Well, Heaney needed to be at the breakdown a little bit quicker than that, and Munster have got themselves penalised. Paddy Butler, I think, was the man who got himself offside. And is this kickable, or will Ulster, with nothing really to lose and everything to gain in terms of a bit of pride, decide to go for the corner? What would you do, Reg?
Well, I'd go for the corner, to be honest with you. You've got to try and set up the maul and see if you can get the try before half-time. It was James Downey, in fact, who got himself into that offside position. But, Jim, exactly what we spoke about, off that scrum. Williams went with the side that the scrum turned. It meant that he went untouched. He was able to run down that blindside channel, 3 backs outside him, and create pressure and put pressure on the Munster defensive line. It led to a penalty, and now we've got Ulster in a brilliant attacking position. They've just got to find the right space in the line-out to hit.
Well, the line-out hasn't gone according to plan. It comes back to Rob Herring. He took it from Nick Williams' rather untidy pat down, and Herring has cleverly moved infield to give himself a little bit of room to create options on both sides, but everybody's tacked to the open side of the field, the Ulster right. Pick up and drive by Ulster. Callum Black takes it forward. Warwick gets those paws of his on it. Good drive by the Ballymena prop forward. laid back nicely for Ulster, and they get a penalty against them, is it? It looks like it's a penalty against them.
Yeah, the decision's been made for holding on. It looked like Paul O'Connell managed to get himself into a position. It'd be interesting to see again if he was supporting his own weight in the replay, but that's where the penalty was for. But again, it's just crazy, Jim. You got a line out in the corner, set in a perfect position, 5 metres from the defensive line, set up a maul, hit the right part of the line out, set up a maul, and try and drive it over. That was the thing to do. Instead, some sort of a crazy tactic of just throwing the ball at the front of the line out and a batted down tap from Nick Williams at the front, going nowhere. That was very well cleared up in the end by Herring, but shouldn't have come to that. These are the situations and the times that you've got to just keep a composed, cool head, set up a line out, go to the training park move that you've done 100 times, go for the line-out maul, shift the drive if you have to, and just test the Munster defence. Playing that type of scrappy stuff just makes it too easy for the defence.
Well, another redhead is likely to appear in the back row, and this time it's going to be for Ulster. Now, Nick Williams was well tackled by Paul O'Connell, and he seemed to roll over, and at that point I think he did something to his leg, and you can see the look of agony in his face. I think he's twisted his knee, and Nick Williams, not a man to show any signs of pain, is in pretty obvious pain there. Michael Webb, the Ulster senior doctor, is on with Gareth Robinson, the physio, and Conor Joyce is about to come on. This certainly won't do Ulster's cause any good if Nick Williams, who
it seemed to be his shoulder or his bicep or his arm or something. As he was driving forward, he had a good grip on the ball, and the defenders were in around him, and it just seemed to wrench his arm or his shoulder. Not quite sure, can't really see exactly where it was, and they're not moving him for obvious reasons until the doctors ascertain exactly what it is. But yeah, very, very bad news from an Ulster point of view if it is something serious, and it certainly doesn't look great at the moment.
And whether Robbie Dyack will be able to play next week or not, we simply don't know at this stage.
Yeah, go on then. I'm right there.
Somebody just popped up on an adjacent monitor. Glasgow scoring yet another try against the Zebra. I'm not quite sure what the current score is, but I think Glasgow are romping away with that one, and Nick Williams will not be romping anywhere for quite some time if that injury is as serious as it looks. This was a nice little half break by Lolala, and look at Keatley, lovely inside ball and sweet transfer from Duncan Williams, and then it was James Collin, and to Williams again, sniffing a forward pass perhaps not. Good try though by Munster.
It's really difficult to make out exactly what it is that has happened to Nick Williams. There doesn't seem to be any one particular area that the medics are tending to at the moment. The only thing that I can see is that he seems to be somehow holding his shoulder, but he's moving both arms on the stretcher, so time will tell, I suppose.
Well, Conor Joyce is on. Only 20 years of age, one of the stars of the Junior World Cup for Ireland last summer. Coming on to play only his fourth Ulster game. The wind is starting to pick up, threatening to blow my notes all over the place. This was the Ulster riposte to the Williams try, and Michael Heaney, who made the break, did very well to finish it off. Well, that is a sad sight, and I'm sure everybody here and they are a pretty appreciative lot at Thomond Park, and will remember fondly Nick Williams when he played here, and they've given him a decent round of applause as he leaves the field. The clock starts again, just over 6 minutes remaining to half-time, and if it stays like this, Reggie, I don't think Ulster will be too unhappy.
Well, certainly the way the game had started, it looked like it was going to be a long day from an Ulster point of view, but they'd be very happy and give themselves a chance to get in there and get a few thoughts together at half-time, and as I said, no reason why they can't take this game to Munster.
If you look at that Ulster selection, it's not just a question of rotating. There's a lot of players have never been together at all in an Ulster jersey. A lot of them have played very little representative rugby this season. That's a good kick by Duncan Williams. Rory Scholes, who can play full back with equal facility. And I think there was an offside there. Somebody was in front of the kicker. And Nigel Owens is going to bring them back, and this will give Ulster a chance maybe to get down into Munster territory yet again. Well, Ulster could squeeze something out of this. The last few minutes of this half, Reggie, would put a different perspective in this game.
And they may well go for a shot at goal here just to do that and just get themselves organised while they come to terms with Nick Williams going off. And yeah, I think they have decided to go for a kick at goal.
I think there's a bit of telepathy going on between you and some of these players in
But
the
as he
field.
was
You said
taking
that
the lift, the
Nick
ball
Williams
carrier
should
was
make a
taking
certain
slightly
move, and he
forward.
did
So
that.
taking
Then you
it from
suggested
18
Ulster should go
right
for
in
gold,
the
and lo and behold, Dan
Have a
Toohey
look
said
at
to
it
James
and
McKinney,
take
go
him
for
there,
gold.
okay?
Is there something about you I haven't worked out yet, Mr. Corrigan?
Experience is a wonderful thing, Jim.
Amen to that.
Make sure you
Well,
take the ball carrier only, okay? Not
Still
the
a
support
bit to
jump,
go to the
in
interval,
lineup,
just over 5 minutes, and not certainly the easiest kick. In terms of the distance, it doesn't look too bad, but although there aren't too many flags around, it's a treacherous swirling wind. So James McKinney to level this game at 10 apiece. Just a little back step, and he's brought that in very nicely indeed. What a very good kick by James McKinney, who's after just a year with Ulster, is off back to Rotherham again, and I'm sure he wants to buy out with a pretty decent performance, and you couldn't fault his kicking.
That's a tremendous kick, Jim. I mean, it's hard to explain just how swirling this wind is unless you're here experiencing it. And his short little backswing, he only literally has 2 steps back and then short run up and bang, but it was straight as die all the way, and it never moved off its target, and it's really important at this stage of the game from an Ulster point of view.
Well, the wind seems to have shifted in Munster's favour, taken in by David McIlwain, on the man who's leaving Ulster at the end of the season. Michael Heaney to his captain Dan Toohey, who's well tackled by John Ryan, the Munster tight head prop. Heaney inside his 22, and he's brought it in field, well taken by James Colin. This might have been better employed putting that one into touch. Here comes Varley, who's taken by Dan Toohey. Duncan Williams, Simon Zebo, who's been fairly well shackled. Duncan Williams, good flat pass, taken on yet again by Munster. Keighley with O'Connell outside him, that's come off an Ulster leg. Michael Allen, I think, got in the way. That's gone loose. Scholes has given it a bit of willy. Staying in field, Gilroy really closing down the South African Gerhard van der Heever, and that should be an Ulster line-out. And unfortunately for Ulster, somebody has gone off their feet in the tackle, and Nigel Owens has given the penalty. That was a great chance for Ulster.
It was brilliant play all the way around from the defence was organised. I was just about to say to you, when they were down in their own half, the last thing Ulster need to do here is give away a penalty, but a great turnover, and he just, you know, it's a silly mistake. Just dive from Gilroy, just dive straight down on the player on the ground, the most obvious thing in the world for the referee. Allow him to get up and just shift him into touch and push him over the line, and then you get the put in as well. Just watch it here. Doesn't allow him to get up fully off his feet, and I suppose he just anticipated a little bit too early, Gilroy, but you got to be clever in those situations. Haven't gotten a great turnover.
Only, please.
Munster have shortened the line out to just 5 men. Foley gets up well, despite the efforts of Lewis Stevenson.
Fine.
Dan Toohey grappling away, but Paul O'Connell has got it.
Keep it
in
up.
those big paws of his. Now Duncan Williams.
Let it go.
That's a good kick. Scholes did very well, turned his back to protect the ball. Heaney, Conor Joyce, replacement for the unfortunate Nick Williams. Good possession by Ulster. Callum Black just steadies himself and then puts a little churning run in. Heaney again. McKinney got McCluskey with him. Good flat pass. Here's McCluskey, gets across the halfway line. Heaney, was good stuff from Ulster. Great tackle back on the Ulster side, nothing wrong with that. Heaney managed to get it away, slips it inside to Callum Black, but Ulster have conceded about 10 or 15 metres. Here comes Joyce. Heaney again. Back to Gilroy. Who gives it a fair old thump. Taken by Felix Jones, who declines the mark and dithered a wee bit and got caught by James McKinney. Just a minute to go to half-time. Now can Munster spring something from here? This is Downey. Simon Zebo. Wide to Lolala, who spills it forward. Referee's playing advantage.
Advantage knock on.
The knock forward this time by Munster, well taken in by Dave Kilcoyne. Gets across the halfway line. Munster looking ominously confident with ball in hand. And O'Lala is well taken down, and that was knocked forward, and that may well be a scrum.
No advantage. Still
Not
behind
quite sure what the decision from Nigel Owens was. It was a knock on by Heaney, just as Heaney came in to get the ball. But as things stand at the moment, Jim, certainly Ulster are the team who are playing with a lot more urgency. The Munster performance for the last 20 minutes, Rob Penny is not going to be a happy man at half-time, given that this is their performance, his fire-up performance down here in Thomond Park. It's not the type of effort that we have come to expect from the Munster team. Ulster, on the other hand, from a bad start, have worked themselves really well into this game, and the younger players in particular are starting to ask questions. This blindside area is really a good place for them to probe, because we're finding that it's backs on forwards inevitably, and that's a good position to be in. And if they continue to do that in the second half, they might find some gaps and finish off with some nice scores.
Well, if Rob Penny's not going to be happy, the Leinster coach Matt O'Connor certainly won't be happy, because Leinster are trailing at home to Edinburgh by 6 points to 5. Into the last minute or so. In fact, we've gone the 40 minutes. That's inside the Zebo, who took it well. Munster looking to press forward and get something more by the interval. Downey, well taken by Stuart McCloskey. Duncan Williams, Ulster told to get back onside. Keighley back inside to Felix Jones. Half tackled by Joyce, fully tackled by Sean Doyle. Duncan Williams, good work by Ulster at the breakdown. Referee says that was knocked forward, and that's going to be half time, and he does blow his whistle, and his honours even. So the most inexperienced Ulster side in recent seasons to come down south from Ravenhill has done pretty well. At one stage it looked a little bit on the ominous side when they were 10-0 behind, but they fought their way back, and a try by Michael Heaney, a conversion and a penalty by James McKinney means that it's even Steven here at Thomond Park, which is a little bit surprising, because Ulster weren't expected to do that well, but they've really lived up to their own personal billing, and it's 10 apiece at the half-time.
Well, we certainly wouldn't have predicted that half-time score before the game. Brent Cunningham and Tony McWhirter have been watching what has been a very good first half for Ulster.
Well, I think I know which coach will be more disappointed at half-time. We wouldn't have expected Ulster to be in the game just quite the way they are. But Munster have been sloppy. They've turned over an awful lot of ball. Their handling has been very, very poor. I know the conditions are difficult, but it still doesn't excuse some of those errors. But Ulster looked a more organised team. I think that's the most surprising thing about it. A fairly second-string side, wouldn't have had a lot of time together, and they actually looked better organised.
Yeah, disappointed with Munster or impressed by Ulster, or a bit of both?
Tony? A bit of both. I think Ulster have been very simple in terms of what they've tried to do, win the ball and play the ball in the Munster half. They haven't tried to execute too many fancy moves behind the scrum, whereas I think Munster maybe have been guilty of going too wide, and their passing has been poor, and yes, in difficult conditions, but certainly every one of those 15 Ulster men have stood up and been counted, and it's great to see. Yeah,
it's a bit sloppy at the start, but Ulster's young players seem to grow into the occasion.
I think that's it. That's the right terminology. They're growing into it, because if Munster had had a very, very good start and they were clinical in their approach, then Ulster would have started to doubt themselves early and probably would have started to tighten up a little bit as well. But they now realise they are fully in a game here. They can win this match. They'll go in there at half-time. They'll feel very, very confident in the position that they're in. And if they can hold on to a bit of possession and keep the confidence levels and getting off the line in defence, then they've got a very good chance.
The Munster try came actually from a pretty good Ulster kick, which they challenged for, but it was just some great handling to put in the score.
Yeah, there was some great handling, and I think initially some great feet by Casey Laulala. You'll see ball comes, there's a kick from McKinney which is fielded, and from the resulting play Munster win possession, but it's the turnover. So it's Dougal, but as we'll see it set up and the ball comes away, but it's Laulala here, ball in two hands, steps inside and executes the offload. And then it's simple hands, lovely transfer by Williams, but it's just a case of 2-on-1s from here, Bryn.
It is, it's very good hands, but you probably saw a little bit earlier in that play, there were maybe two opportunities for Ulster to take the man out. You see here, go out just there, that guy came in and he ends up, Williams is a guy that ends up scoring that try. Now he could have been taken out in a tackle. It wouldn't have been cynical. He just would have been tackling him as he was passing the ball. And that's just, I think that's just an experience thing. You know, take the guy down, because they had a lot of runners coming through. It was very, very good support play from Munster.
And good lines of attack, but also good awareness, special awareness from James Colin there at the end. You actually see him take the ball 2 hands. Knows he has an outside runner, but has the time just to look inside, make sure there's nobody in a better position, execute the pass, and then Williams scores in the corner.
Fair play to Ulster, though, scored a great try there.
Yeah, they came straight back at them, which is exactly what they needed to do. You see here, it's Gilroy going for the ball, becomes a little bit loose, and you know, they do well. Lewis Stevenson does very well there to get over the ball, cause it a bit of a mess, and then Heaney spots this very, very quickly. Whether he gets a call or sees it himself, he's away like a bullet. Little step just to hold the defence. Michael Allen did very well there. He knew immediately that the players were coming across. He was all his intention. You can see him here, ball in 2 hands, always looking back at Heaney to give a ball back. And right at the end here, little small detail, just Heaney, just a little bit of an overstride, little hitch kick, just to take him away from the defence to get in for a good, very, very well worked try.
But I think Heaney did well initially there, Stephen, as well, because he knew that Zebo was in the ruck. And Munster didn't have the foresight to get mental the far side of it. He knew straight away it was on. Michael Allen has then kept the width and again executed really nicely.
And as we said, as the game progressed, Ulster looked certainly more organised defensively, and from that good defence and a turnover came a fantastic Michael Allen break.
Fantastic, and I think even initially this comes from a great defence from a Munster driven line out. Ball comes down, Michael Allen does what he does well, 2 hands, quick feet, brilliant acceleration. We see Zebo comes across and makes a tackle, and Munster still had Felix Jones behind that, but the only mistake he's maybe guilty of there is that he's gone to ground slightly too early, and the cavalry hadn't quite got the chance to get there. But those half chances are the ones that maybe Ulster are going to have to take in the second half. But again, Michael Allen's looked really sharp. He's been out of the shop window for a couple of months now. Straight back in, doesn't look out of place.
The line-outs have been anything but sharp, though, to be fair.
Yeah, it's certainly one area that's let Ulster down in that first half, and they'll need to sharpen that up in the second half, there's no doubt. And it's a mixture, it's probably a mixture.
What's the problem?
Well, I mean, Tony would probably be a better place than me to talk about the technicality, but you can see that you know, part of it is calling, part of it is just throwing, obviously, to the wrong area. There's one obviously crooked as well, and that comes under pressure whenever you're looking to win the ball.
Munster are competing, Stephen, in the air. You've got Paul O'Connell, he's an absolute master at it. He's reading in terms of what's in front of him. They've assessed the situation. It's wet, it's windy, it's difficult to throw the ball to the tail of the line out.
But is it not a case of then keep it simple and
absolutely,
just throw it to the front?
and that's what Ulster should do. Either cut the numbers so they can find some space to get an unopposed jump, or else throw the ball to 2. What Munster do are pinging guys up at 2 and forward, 2 pods, making it very difficult. Rob Herring suffering as well, and there's been a couple of squint ones, which obviously the conditions haven't helped with. But I think what Ulster have to do in the second half, potentially cut the numbers, have to identify a jumper that they're going to go to and let him find space, and you will do that by taking people out of what's there. But Munster are past masters of sort of defending line-outs, and they've been superb at it again this evening.
Ulster had some success at the breakdown in the second half of that first half, but early on they turned a lot of ball over, which has got to be a concern for them.
Yeah, well, it was that opening 10 minutes that they would be disappointed with their play. But what, as I mentioned earlier, has kept them in the game, that Munster were quite the same. Munster were turning ball over, and they weren't actually capitalising on these mistakes. A beautiful step by Lalala. I mean, that's his stock and trade. He's got a wonderful feet, and if you give him an inside shoulder, he'll take it all day long. You know, and Munster looked very dangerous here. Good tackle by McCluskey there, just to hold them short. But again, you know, turning over ball in your own 22 is dangerous, and Munster obviously are going to take points.
Yeah, this Ulster scrambled defence has been good, and as Bryn said, as the half has progressed, they've actually had more of the possession, and rather than kicking for points, we've been going for corners. We're looking to score tries. That's been very impressive, but they've kept it simple. You know, rugby's not a difficult game. If you just do the basics well, you get yourself in a position where they're right in this and have a great chance of pulling off a momentous victory.
Absolutely, still very much in this game now. This week, about a dozen Ulster players decided on their day off to try a bit of fishing off the north coast. We sent Thomas Niblock along to meet the organiser. Guess who? New Zealander Jared Payne, a keen angler.
Look, I do a bit of fishing back home in New Zealand, so I thought might as well try the Northern Irish fishing out at some stage. Yeah, look, it's a bit sort of different fishing to what I'm used to. Used to jandals, singlet and a beer in the sun.
His fishing skills are average, his talent as a rugby player sublime. The former New Zealand under-20 has captured the imagination at Ravenhill and beyond. Familiar at fullback, but growing accustomed to playing 13.
Played there a lot when I was back home in New Zealand for the last couple of years. I spent most of my time there, so it'd be nice to get a run there at some stage, but obviously just getting into this Ulster backline is pretty tough at the moment, so I worry about doing that, and wherever the coaches want me, so be it. And then if I'm good enough to play 13 and hopefully maybe get close to Ireland, then as you say, it'll be big shoes to fill, but it'll be a great honour to try and do that.
O'Driscoll has left the stage, and Payne could be the next author of Irish Rugby's Chapter 13. 496 days until the Rugby World Cup. Is the thought of playing for Ireland against the All Blacks appealing?
Look, I'd love to do that. It'd be wicked to play against guys you've played with back home, and just to play against the All Blacks, there's obviously the general feeling that they're the best team in the world, so to test yourself against them would be great. And there's always that feeling that, you know, they didn't want me as such, or I didn't quite make it, so you always want to be able to play them and sort of try shove one up them, I guess you could say.
Last month, Payne was sent off for this challenge in the Heineken Cup. Right decision, wrong decision, everyone has argued, but it's been the topic of conversation in rugby circles ever since.
Yeah, the old incident. Look, it was one of those things. I thought I was just trying to catch a high ball, and next thing you know I was lying on my back, and so was Alex. So it's an unfortunate thing, but it's all part of rugby, and then the ref obviously made his decision following the law, so it's all part of it. It's just unfortunate it happened in such a big game. It's just how the ref interprets it, and I guess they sort of told me that I've got to jump, so I guess that's what you're going to have to do in the future, just to stay safe and make sure you don't get in trouble.
The European adventure is extinguished for another season, but winning the Pro 12 is just 2 steps away. Ulster Rugby's improvement over recent years is unquestioned, but it's now time for tangible success, the Pro 12 title.
Hugely important. I think we've sort of said the last few years we've learned something from each year, you know, losing finals, and we're getting better, so eventually you can't always learn from your losses, can you? You've got to win something at some stage, so it'll be nice to win something this year, and it is hugely important for us to hopefully bring the railway home.
I'm told Paddy Jackson caught nothing but the cold, by the way. Anyhow, Bryn, can Ulster really land a victory here in the second half against Munster?
They definitely can. I think Rob Penny will be going nuts with the Munster side, so I think you'll see a different Munster side this second half. I think you'll see a little bit more control from them, and certainly a bit more intensity. Guys will be a little bit more concerned about losing easy possession, so Munster will be a different kettle of fish, but Ulster are going to continue the way they're doing. Got to have the confidence that they can go out and win this game.
How impressed have you been by Andrew Warwick in the first half? He was good last week against Cian Healy of Leinster. He's done well again tonight.
He's done well tonight against David Kilcoyne, and I think you have to remember first and foremost he's a loose head prop. So he's playing on the wrong side of the scrum, but as everybody who follows rugby now, you know, tight heads are not to a penny, but to actually find somebody that has the ability to play on both sides is good. The scrummaging's first rate, and he's been lively around the park, and you know, certainly one for the future.
Certainly there'll be a different feel in this Ulster dressing room at half-time possibly than there was before the match, because they're going to have a lot more belief and a lot more confidence now that they can actually achieve something pretty special here.
Yeah, well, I don't think Munster aren't hurting them in any area, bar the line-out, and I think the line-out is probably Ulster's own doing. I think Tony's quite right. They'll look to make a few changes there, maybe shorten it up. But, you know, in terms of the general play, Ulster look very comfortable. Yeah, their defensive line's very, very good. Munster's try was very well taken. You can't take anything away from them. But other than that, I think Ulster have been very solid. They've just got to go out, as I said, have that confidence, the belief you mentioned, and if they can hold on to a bit of possession, not kick away any silly ball, then they very much have a chance of winning this.
What is it, Tony? Just keeping it simple in this second half and more of the same?
Absolutely, Stephen. For me, it's just about keeping it simple. We want to play the game in the right half of the pitch. Nigel Williams has, you know, been fair all day long as well, and if the opportunity arises to either kick points or score tries, we have to take those.
Okay, Tony, Bryn, thank you very much indeed. That's deadlock at half-time at Thomond Park. Let's see how this second half develops with Reggie and Jim.
First, and Munster led by their skipper for the day, Damien Varley. coming out, and one would be wondering what has been said by Rob Penny in the Munster dressing room. And if you're just joining us, let me tell you that it's 10 apiece here at Thomond Park, and the half-time at Scotstoun. Glasgow romping away already with the bonus point in the bag, 40 points to 0 up against the Zebra, and Leinster surprisingly trailing at the RDS by 1 single point. Leinster 5 and Edinburgh 6, and if it stays like that, I think it would mean that Glasgow would actually finish in first place, and Ulster would have to travel to Glasgow. So here we go, second half. Ian Keatley switches sides, and that's not a bad kick. Has it gone directly into touch? No, it's gone into the hands of Mike McComish, who does a pretty natty bit of offloading, but Munster have snaffled it. So early advantage to the men in red, who look as if they're pretty fired up for the second half. Keatley, Casey Laulala, Ulster up quickly. Zebo thought about knocking it on, or knocking it backward. Well tackled by David McElwain. Duncan Williams, like any good scrum half, is first to the breakdown. Keatley, Casey Laulala, there's that familiar sidestep which has been bamboozling opposition defences for a number of years. He had 3 very successful seasons with Cardiff before coming to Munster. Knocked on by Munster, referee waiting to see if there's any advantage to Ulster, and I don't think there is. And he's given the penalty, not forward first of all. Stuart McCluskey went to take the quick one, and he's knocked it on, and that was very, very, very naive of Stuart McCluskey. Great chance there. All Ulster had to do was knock it into the corner. Well, we'll forgive his youthful exuberance, Reggie, but you mustn't spurn chances like that.
No, and given the way McKinney has been kicking as well, that was a very kickable chance. You know, about 35 out and just on the left-hand side. At this stage of the game, to have a pot of goal and maybe go into the lead would have been a good advantage, but look, it's been done now. Both teams seem to have definitely come out with an awful lot more urgency in this second half. Hopefully we'll see a little bit better rugby than we were seeing in the first half, but at the moment, advantage just to Ulster.
Crouch.
Well, it wasn't a bad first half from an Ulster perspective, but overall from a rugby perspective, it was pretty poor fare here in Offord Thomond Park so far. Nearly 2 minutes played in the second half. First scrum of the second half. Good solid looking Munster scrum. James Cullen. A bit of a squeeze now from Ulster, but Munster have got it away. Gerard van der Heever came in off his wing. Ulster backline poised to really shoot up as quickly as possible. Paddy Butler going nowhere. Was that a high tackle?
Let it go, let it go.
Nigel Owens seems to be happy enough. Ulster trying to effect a rare turnover, but that's not going to happen. Hello, what's going on there? Dan Tui upended. I think Simon Zevo just got underneath his Irish teammate Craig Gilroy inside his own half. Well taken. He's got Rory Scholes outside him. Scholes maybe just drifted a wee bit too much on the wide side, didn't really give Gilroy any opportunity, but it's back on the Ulster side. Callum Black, good sidestep from the loose head prop.
Reload up, lads.
Heaney, Ulster's try scorer. Michael Allen, who helped set it up. Well, not the best bit of handling that Lewis Stevenson has ever put in. I'm not sure whether he was expecting that or not, but he never looked as if he was going to catch it from Michael Allen.
Second red.
And again, Ulster playing into Munster's hands.
Yeah, he just wasn't expecting it at all. Stevenson, he kind of run a line behind Doyle, but even if he had caught that, I think the likelihood is it would have been a crossing because Doyle was just in front of him the way he was, but certainly not expecting it. But you know, again, you know, the ball seems to be moving well across the line from an Ulster point of view, and Allen seems tricky. You know, he's got good pace in him, and he's probing defences the whole time. Interesting player, and going to watch him very closely for the remainder of this second half.
Well, he was an outstanding centre at school, and he can play both centre and wing, but given the strength in those particular positions with Ulster, with people like Tommy Bowe and Andrew Trimble and Craig Gilroy on the wing, and Darren Cave and Luke Marshall, Stuart Olding to come back next year, and the prospect of Jared Payne moving into the centre and Stuart McCluskey coming through. There's been limited opportunity for Michael Allen, who is a more than tidy player. Again, Munster scrum looking solid. James Cullen doing a bit of huffing and puffing. Here's Zebo. Straight into touch. And there'll be a little private word of admonishment.
Stay in within the metre. Come out again and
Simon
repeat
Zebo, or by Simon Zebo. Nigel Owens and Michael Heaney having a few words, and again Dan Toohey brings Ulster into a little huddle and tells his forwards exactly what he wants in terms of the call and the throw and the catch and the drive.
Just find that option a little bit strange from Zebo. We just saw it on the from behind goal camera there. It looked like it was a 3-on-2 with someone with Zebo's pace and ability. You've got to be able to change direction and maybe just move the ball along the line rather than kicking it away aimlessly.
Nick Williams, we're hearing, has sustained some knee ligament damage. They don't think it's that desperately serious. We'll just have to wait and see, and let's hope it's not. Well, again, Lewis Stevenson fails to catch the ball. It's more embarrassing than when you're a big forward in the middle of the park and everybody's watching and you put the ball down. But it hasn't affected Ulster going forward, and they've gone forward. Craig Gilroy tries to set it up on the Munster 10-metre line. Michael Heaney, plenty of enterprise now. Was there a bit of crossing there? Referee says fair enough, play on. Heaney, James McKinney. Well, that was telegraphed beyond belief and straight into the arms of Sean Dougal. Just lack of concentration there by McKinney, and Ulster have managed to get themselves a penalty. Now, don't rush anything, Ulster, for goodness sake.
He's on his feet
Because you saw what happened the last time. Paul O'Connell giving away a penalty on the ground. There's a novelty.
Well, it was actually for the players coming in and going straight off their feet to seal it off as O'Connell was on the ground. Again, I'd love to see that replay because the ball ricocheted, very similar to what happened in the first half when the penalty was given against Allen. The ball ricocheted off the Munster player and straight across and into O'Connell, but he must obviously have been in an onside position when he received it. But it doesn't matter because his teammates came in and went off their feet and gave away the penalty anyway. Wind seems to have changed a little bit in direction and maybe just in Ulster's favour. Again, as I said, it swirls a lot in this ground, but at the moment it just seems to be slightly in McKinney's back, so he doesn't want to change anything he was doing in the first half anyway, that's for sure.
Well, you know, he gives himself a little couple of hops and skips of a run-up. Final last glance at the post. This to give Ulster the lead for the first time. That might just carry, you know. What a good kick by James McKinney. And 7 minutes gone in the second half. And James McKinney, much I'm sure to the delight of the Ulster coaching panel and Mark Anscombe in particular, have found themselves in the lead. Munster 10 and Ulster 13.
Yeah, and as I said, you know, this puts a lot of pressure back on the Munster team to perform. They certainly haven't played to the level that they're capable of today, and if you look at the two teams on paper, with the backline in particular, a lot of experience in that Munster team, and expect that they'll get a little bit more fired up again now and try and get into this. But Ulster just need to stay composed, try and play the game. As I said, the wind has changed a little bit in their favour at the moment, and try and play the game down in the Munster half and force the errors from the opponents.
Well, Ulster have been forced into making an error. I think it was Stuart McCluskey knocked the ball forward. Now it's back very much in Munster hands. Here comes Kilcoyne, who's very pacey for a prop forward. Good covering by Lewis Stevenson. Williams, Keatley, little chip kick through. Somebody needs to kill that. It's gone loose, and it's going to be a try for Munster, and it's Dougal, the Ulsterman. Well, very careless there by Ulster at the initial restart, giving the ball away very, very cheaply. The defence seemed to be there in numbers, but they couldn't control the ball, and almost immediately Munster respond, and they're back in the lead again.
Again from a forced error here, just as he go in, Alan, just bad presentation, ball spills forward, Munster quickly move it. Kilcoyne could easily have given the ball out earlier, but a clever little kick in there behind, and between, it should have been taken by McElwain as he went back. You can just see coming here. At that stage when the ball is like, you just got to get down, claim that ball, body or back to the opposition so that it's protected. Just tried to dive on it, and rugby balls do strange things when they're bobbling around like that, and it just bobbled underneath his body, and a good opportune moment for Dougal to get that score.
Well, Munster needed to respond, and my word, they did.
Okay.
Keatley. Oh, he judged that beautifully. It looked as if it was going to drift outside the near post, but it held its line. And Munster now leading by 17 points to 13. And we've had more excitement in the first 5 minutes of this second half than we did in most of the first.
Yeah, and with that, Keatley has gone off. He seems to be just hobbling a little bit. But I've been really impressed with the kicking of both 10s so far tonight. And that kick in particular, from the close to the touchline, excellently struck by Keatley.
Well, and it all came from Ulster's inability to secure the ball from the kickoff. When you give Munster the ball, they're not going to let it go until they score. Williams, who's played very well, J.J. Hanrahan, Munster's young player of the year, Craig Gilroy.
Back white.
He's put just about the right amount of weight on that, and he's chased it himself, and it's been well gathered in by J.J. Hanrahan, helped by Duncan Williams. Dave Foley standing in the outside half position calling for it, and he's got it. Try scorer Dougal. Slips inside Stevenson. Simon Zebo, who's been hobbling a little bit, has gone in. Good clearing out by Stevenson. Well, Ulster really contesting that breakdown, and the referee having a good look at it. It's coming back on the Munster side, but it's slow ball, and Rob Herring and Ulster have stolen that. That's well done. Here comes Doyle. Good aggressive piece of play by the Australian flanker, who's going back to his native land to join the Brumbies at the end of this season. Conor Joyce.
Away!
In goes Mike McComish, and that's going to be a penalty to Ulster. Referee waiting for advantage. Andrew Warwick took it on. Here goes Heaney. Stevenson catches this one. Well done, big man. Gets up to the 22. Is he still playing advantage? He may well be. Michael Allen tries to step inside James Colin, who puts him to the ground, and referee has decided there is no advantage, and Munster didn't actually get back, so he's advanced Ulster's cause by some 10 metres. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ulster went for the post.
Oh, definitely, they got to go for the posts here. I mean, they just got to keep picking away at the scoreline. They're getting opportunities. If they can get this one over, they'll be just a point behind. And you know, the last try that Munster got came from an Ulster mistake just inside their 22 from the restart. So they can just keep applying the pressure and keep pushing Munster back as they're doing at the moment and getting penalties. A point in it at this stage of the game is nothing. So right decision to go for the posts here.
Red, 8th and 11.
Leinster are now 8 points to 6 up at home. So that will be a bit of a relief to them. Neil McComb has come on the field. Lewis Stevenson has gone off. Munster bringing on a couple of replacements. A bewhiskered Keith Earls is coming on, and the outstanding Tommy O'Donnell coming on as well to play in the back row with James Collin going off.
And both of those players will really bring a spark to this Munster team. Remember, we've got semi-finals and finals coming up, and players are playing for positions to try and impress the coach. And certainly an opportunity to turn things around here from an Ulster point of view, so they'll certainly give it everything they've got.
McKinney from 35 metres. Oh, he struck that one beautifully as well. Well, that was a good piece of kicking from James McKinney. And Ulster move up to within a point. It's 17 to Munster and now 16 to Ulster.
He's been faultless today with his kicking, but important here that Ulster deal with this restart. The last few haven't been dealt with properly. They've got to get around the ball carrier early and clear, use the ball and clear it back down into the Munster side of the pitch.
Well, they've caught it and they've got it to Gilroy. Now he must clear this because it was taken inside the 22, and that's fine. And Gilroy finds a very good touch on the far side, and the touch judge who's running along there, Dudley Phillips on the far side, you see that his flag is now pointing towards Ulster. So this wind can't make up its mind.
And it's now gone the other direction, and the guy on this side's flag is going in the opposite direction. So it's completely swirling wind and changing at all times. So, and that's what makes the kicking from the players at goal so impressive.
Damien Varley making sure the ball is as dry as possible. Tommy O'Donnell is out of the Munster line-out. Dave Foley well away. Williams, J.J. Hanrahan, dangerous man. Nicely done, intercepted though by Sean Doyle. Ulster have conceded some 20 metres, and now they've conceded a penalty.
Similar to the Paul O'Connell penalty, where the players came in and sealed off the ball. Ulster players, Doyle had done so well to get back and gather that up, but the players coming in, not staying on their feet, going off and sealing off the ball, and Nigel Owens being consistent and giving the penalty. to Munster, which they've elected to kick to touch for and find themselves in a good attacking position.
Well, not for the first time have Ulster made an error which has cost them in terms of possession and territory. Will it cost them in terms of points? Nigel Owens, no hesitation whatsoever, penalising Ulster on the ground. There's the very, very talented JJ Hanrahan. One of these versatile players, equally at home at outside half or in the centre. Full Munster line out this time. So there's that familiar Munster catch and drive. Ulster trying to squeeze them toward the touchline and force them into touch. Referees said, right, you can go again. And they are going again. The rather sparse Munster crowd shouting heave, urging their team forward. Here's Williams. Good take by big James Downey, who's held on to by Stuart McCluskey, but Munster have got in. Not sure what Keith Earls is doing in the middle of all that. On for Simon Zebo. Duncan Williams gets it away. McCluskey again puts in another good tackle.
Don't touch it.
Big strong youngster. Sean Dougal, the scorer of Munster's second try, is well met by Sean Doyle. That looked like a little nudge forward, but the referees seem to be happy. It's gone loose. Somebody needs to win it on the ground, and it's Ulster's captain Dan Toohey, I have a feeling. It was knocked forward, and referees waiting for advantage, and Ulster will get the put into the scrum. That's good defence by the men in white.
Very good defence from Ulster, and especially off the line. At the initial surge from Munster was stopped and driven towards the touchline, and the supporting players then, Munster showed great patience and they waited and tried to bring it back in field again, but the supporting players on the fringe hit it time and time again, and the defensive line outside that maul breakdown was very well organised. And again, Doyle, I mean, I think he's been exceptional tonight in the way that he's come forward and smothered tackles and gotten off that defensive line quickly and closed the space down. He's been brilliant at it all night, and they forced another error from Munster in a situation where in times in the past you'd expect them to just convert every time.
Ulster have another knee injury. The skipper for this evening, Dan Toohey, has gone off. His knee is swelling up as we speak. So Nick Williams off with ligament damage. How serious it is we won't know for a while. And Dan Toohey off. So, well, it has been a fairly catastrophic end of the season in terms of injury for Ulster. Michael Heaney, he's given that plenty of height. Now Keith Earls is well positioned. Has a little glance, thought maybe about the kick off the foot. Good tackle by James McKinney. Hanrahan is opposite number. Well gathered by Ulster and by Craig Gilroy.
Stay white.
Looks for a little bit of a gap, but there's nothing much there. Gerard van der Heever. Ulster have another player down injured. It looks like Mike McComish, and that's gone straight into touch. And Mike McComish is an absolute agony just in front of us, and there he is. Well, that looks like another knee injury. For goodness sake, if it's not red cards, it's knee injuries. What an awful end of the season Ulster are having, Reggie, you have to say.
It's right in front of us here. He seems to be in quite a lot of difficulty. It seems to be the inside of his knee, which looks like a medial ligament tear, and the physios are dealing with it right in front of us, and every time it gets touched, he seems to be in great difficulty. But Ulster now find themselves in a very good attacking position after that terrible kick towards touch by Van der Heever. Went out off the outside of his boot, and as I said earlier, Ulster just need to be patient. They've found themselves in a situation where they're a point behind with plenty of time left on the clock. Lots of rugby still to play in this game, and they just need to keep trying to squeeze Munster out.
Back untidily on the Ulster side. Bit of a hack there by Ryan, tidied up by Rob Herring, who runs into his opposite hooker. Mike McComish, I'm pleased to say, is up, but he's hobbling. It doesn't look anything like 100%, but brave fellow that he is, he's still there. McKinney. Now that's a teaser. That's going to come down outside the 22. There's nobody trying to claim it, and Ulster have won that. O'Donnell suspiciously offside, gets back behind the rear foot. Heaney. McCluskey had to check. Steps inside Paddy Butler. Heaney again. Gets it to the biggest man on the Ulster squad, the 6'7" Neil McComb. Heaney changed his mind. Here's Herring. Thought about the wee pass, runs into Ryan. That line is the Munster 22. Neil McComb again.
Lost now.
Ulster throwing bodies into it, a bit on the slow side. Here's McComish. Well, he's got across the line, but he still looks a little bit ginger, doesn't he? McKenny, who's played well. Craig Gilroy, no way through. McCluskey is in there, trying to rip that ball back. Munster will try to hold it up to get the put in. Ulster have won it, nicely done. Well laid back again by Macomb. Ulster still pressing. Kilcoyne in the way. Heaney on the narrow side. Munster's pressed defence up very quickly. Heaney again. Callum Black.
Turnovers legal.
Well, it's been spilled forward by Ulster. Referee waiting for advantage to Munster. And they've scooped it in, and they'll get it away from here. Well, guess who's just come onto the park? Conor Murray. He suddenly appeared from nowhere. Munster's Player of the Year. What a season Conor Murray has had. Lions Tour, the Six Nations Championship, and the Munster Player of the Year award.
And it just goes to show you how seriously Munster are taking this game, and how much they want to get a result, and are not happy with the way it's gone so far. Conor Murray, player of his standard, as you said, Players of the Year and awards all around the place, coming on to try and steady the ship a little bit. Also managed to go through 13 phases, I counted them there, Jim, in a row before they made that error, and the whole time they were making 2-3 yards and, you know, putting pressure on Munster. So they can't afford the errors, they can't afford to keep making the simple mistakes.
A little bit of jersey pulling, I think, there by Ulster, and Nigel Owens has spotted that, and the penalty has been conceded, and it's going to be JJ Hanrahan. I think Munster have made another change, this time in the front row. I thought I saw Dave Kilcoyne going off. Not JJ Hanrahan's most distinguished kick. There was a little tap back by the big Macomb chap, and just in and around there was a bit of jersey tugging.
Yeah, pull back on Paul O'Connell as he tried to go through and get his hands on Heaney, which he was never going to do. So again, it's just a pointless effort and a needless penalty to give away and take the pressure off the opposition.
Fine bit of misty rain coming down here at rather wintry Thomond Park. Just a point between them into the final quarter of this game. One score either way could make the difference. That's a good drive by Ulster, although Munster still have the ball in there. Adam Macklin, number 18, in the middle of all of that. Munster trying to drive away, and the referee has given a penalty to Ulster. Or is it a scrummage? I think it's a scrum.
No, it's a little bit of truck and trailer, as they call it, player getting in front of the drive. It's a scrum to Ulster. But great defensive work from Ulster initially off the maul setup. As soon as the player hit the ground, they got the legs pumping and they started driving towards the touchline with other players on the fringe waiting in case there was anybody breaking off. Very, very good defensive work, and then it caused Munster to sort of peel away, and a player got in front of that peeling maul, which is the reason why now Ulster have the scrum, and in a very good attacking position and a great opportunity again to build some attack from this.
James Cronin is on the Munster loose head side, wearing number 17. The bewhiskered Adam Macklin, who's leaving Ulster at the end of the season, is on wearing number 18 on the Ulster tight head side. So two fresh props. Heaney, who's had a good game. Good control by Mike McComish. It's not a bad Ulster scrum. Now they need to get it away, and referee's given the penalty. Heaney doesn't need to rush this because this is within kicking range, I'm sure, as far as James McKinney is concerned. And if he nails this, Ulster are back in the lead.
That's exactly what they wanted, just to find themselves in a position with an opportunity to get a score, get into the lead. But a very impressive Ulster scrum. They kept the leg drive going. You could see it clearly from the sideline. Good body positions, angles were straight, nobody trying to drive in any direction. Proper leg drive, and in the end the Munster front row went down, and Nigel Owens gave the penalty. Well,
James McKinney has been given another chance thanks to this excellent Ulster scrummage, and that's very encouraging. It's well, there's a few chaps have put in a pretty decent shift for Ulster tonight, and some of them are leaving. David McElwain is leaving. James McKinney is going back to Rotherham. Adam Macklin is moving on. Sean Doyle going back to Australia. And one wonders, had they been playing like this throughout the season when they were given their chances, would they have been leaving Ulster at all? So this to restore the Ulster lead by McKinney. Again, there's that little chip. He needs to get it right. That's a cracking kick by McKinney. He has nailed everything presented to him this evening, and James McKinney has given Ulster the lead. We have about 16 minutes remaining, and it's Munster 17 and Ulster 19.
Suddenly there's a spring in the Ulster step as they were running back there, but also just looking around at the likes of Earls and O'Connell, real urgency now around the Munster players. Ulster have got to clear their lines early here.
Well, no mistake this time. Michael Heaney does well, puts it all the way down the line, taken quickly by Felix Jones. Here's Paddy Butler. McElwain not really making any attempt to chase him down at all. Conor Murray gets it away, a bit of a mix-up there. JJ Hanrahan and his tight head prop nearly fell over each other, and that's been thrown not quite into touch. Dave Foley rescues. Look at Hanrahan, had a little glance to see his options. Van der Heever back on the Ulster side. Get it away to Conor Joyce. That looked a bit forward. McCluskey decides to put boot to ball. Oh, he's overcooked it far too much. Well, lots of potential, Stuart McCluskey, but he needs just to cut down those errors. That's a couple of little fundamental errors that he's made, but they can be worked on, Reggie.
They can, but it's a real pity because it was a great turnover at a crucial point. You know, Munster now, very unlike them, they're panicking a little bit. So much time, 15 minutes left on the clock at this stage, and they're throwing passes willy-nilly left and right, panicking. Just something you don't normally see from them, but McCluskey would have been just so good if he could have held that ball and a little bit moved it on to the players outside him, because when you get turnover ball like that, it's crucially important to keep it in hand.
And I thought there might have been a bit of an overlap, albeit on a very narrow side. So another Ulster error gives the ball back to Munster, but fortunately for Ulster, Munster are inside their own 10-metre line.
Set.
14 minutes remaining. Conor Murray, great squeeze on the Munster scrum by the Ulster front row. Ulster have whipped it round, it's all over the place, and the referee has penalised Ulster.
Over there, over there, over there, over there.
I thought Munster were going to take it quickly there, but not so. Conor Murray is going to give it to his outside half, JJ Hanrahan. Another outstanding player at that under-20 Junior World Cup level. And into touch it goes, and Munster back inside the Ulster half. But what a good Ulster scrum initially, Reggie.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure why the decision was given against. I mean, the drive came on from Ulster, up on the loose head side from Black, and he's saying that it was deliberately whipped around. I mean, there was no deliberate whip in that. That was just a drive forward, and they drove around the corner.
Absolutely not. Back on the Munster side, Conor Murray, JJ Hanrahan, James Downey using all that strength and experience. Murray again, back inside. Van der Heever very nearly got through. Munster now building up a decent head of steam. Murray sweeps it away. Tommy O'Donnell, well set up by the Irish international flanker. Hanrahan, ever dangerous. Murray again needs an outside half, gets it in Paddy Butler.
Keep your feet,
well tackled by Ulster. Murray sweeps it away. Downey back inside. Dougal bursts through looking for his second try. Mike McCormick's hobbling noticeably, but still bravely grafting away. Hint of an overlap here as he can move it. Hanrahan. Now, was that deliberate by Ulster? I think it might have been construed as that. It was certainly knocked forward by Craig Gilroy, and the Munster crowd protesting that it was a deliberate knock forward, but it's been adjudged to be only a knock on.
No, it was McElwain, and it just as he came in, the pass had already gone as he was gone in, and you'll see it on the replay where it brushes off his shoulder. Great ball back inside from Downey, but as they show the replay on this ball here, he's already gone in at this point there, and it just brushes off his outside shoulder. Yes, it was unfortunate from a Munster point of view because there was a two-man overlap on the outside, but it certainly wasn't deliberate. But Munster in a very good attacking position here, and with someone like Murray at the getting the ball out of a decent scrum here, very dangerous position.
Leinster 15-13 up at the RDS. Glasgow hammering the Zebra 47-0. It's a better second half of the Zebra because they were 40 points down at the interval. So it looks as if at the moment it's going to be Leinster, Glasgow, Munster and Ulster, because even if Ulster can hang on to this narrow lead, they're not going to advance up the table. And it's going to be Leinster against Ulster at the RDS and Glasgow against Munster at Scotstoun. Munster now looking to press home this territorial advantage. Conor Murray, ever dangerous. themselves an outrageous dummy, very nearly got away with it. Ulster closed them down. In goes Paul O'Connell. Dave Foley, his second row partner, is there too.
Keep your feet.
Munster looking to apply the coup de grace. Just under 12 minutes remaining. 2 points between them, but all the pressure coming from Munster. There's Hanrahan, can't be allowed any room whatsoever. Murray, little pop-up pass, great Ulster defending, but Munster putting on the pressure. Murray screaming for the ball, thumping that turf. Good drive by Foley, he's very nearly across the line. Nigel Owen is in a great position, he's having a good look. Ulster still holding on, and Murray barking instructions, looking for the ball. Here go Munster from close range. They are past masters from this particular angle. Lewis Stevenson grafting away as hard as he can, and Ulster come round and offside, and Lewis Stevenson was the man who gave away the penalty, and Murray takes it quickly, and Nigel Owens is not having any of it. He says it'll have to be taken through the mark. Lewis Stevenson, the man on deep, number 4 indicated.
And somewhat lucky as well. I've seen referees give yellow cards for decisions like that, where the ball was there at Murray's hands and just knocked out of it in a good attacking position. So a little bit fortunate to still be there.
Sean Doyle is having a little word with Nigel Owens about something. Maybe it was that last scrum he was debating. They haven't exactly turned out in their tens of thousands, the Munster fans, but I think they can sense that they might just have the winning of this game. This is a very good position for them.
Crucial that the Ulster back row stay down here. It's always difficult because they've got to defend the ball moving and on the blind side as well, but their front 5 need them to drive this one back and put pressure on the Munster 8.
Well, Mike McComish, who's played very little in terms of starting for Ulster, has gone to number 8. Not quite settled. In it goes. Keith Earls watches from afar. Referee says no, and they'll ask them to do it again. Well, such a makeshift Ulster pack at the moment.
It's just not the same intensity in that last scrum as we saw earlier when they took Munster on. They've got to approach it in the exact same manner. Munster would love nothing more than to get a nudge on here and go for a pushover try. And that's the difficulty if the back row don't stay down and commit to the scrum, and Munster feel that weakness in front of them, they will go for the pushover. So it's a bit of a balancing act at this stage in this scrum.
Well, James McKinney has played probably his best game for Ulster. Ian Humphreys returning at the age of 32 from London Irish at the start of next season. James McKinney off to Rotherham at the age of 23 for the second time. Good quick strike by Varley. That scrum is wheeling, and Munster have controlled it well. Now Murray, Hanrahan has a go himself. Again, good Ulster defending. Murray gets in quickly. Here's Paul O'Connell, who spills it. Ball has come back, and Murray goes to the line, and the referee says, sorry, Connor. Back we come for your Irish international skipper's knock forward, and you can imagine what Paul O'Connell is saying to himself.
Yeah, no one will be harder on him than himself for that mistake. But like I said, it is difficult out there. The conditions are quite greasy, but a good Ulster scrum again. The pressure was coming on from Munster. They really were squeezing up that loose head side, but the defence stood strong, and they managed to force the error from Munster. The crucial thing from this point of view now is that this scrum goes well for Munster and Ulster, and that they can clear their lines.
I have a little feeling that Edinburgh might have come back and scored a try against Leinster at the RDS. I'm not sure how that leaves it, if that indeed is the case. And Paul O'Connell had that in the old bread basket there, but he just let it go forward. He didn't take it at full stretch, and he had to pull the hands back, and couldn't quite manage it. Bit of a stoppage there for an injury to, I think it was Sean Doyle for Ulster. He seems to be fine.
I think Paul had just taken the eye off briefly and looked at the line in front of him. White line fever, it's a terrible thing.
I wouldn't know, Reggie. White line fever is what I have to worry about when I'm trying to park the car.
Okay, time on, lads.
Lewis Stevenson and Neil McComb in the Ulster second row. Adam Macklin, who's had a career peppered with a lot of serious injuries. One in particular kept him out for a whole season, a cruciate ligament injury. There's Conor Joyce, who looked back on this one with a fair old bit of pride, irrespective of the outcome. Just over 8 minutes remaining, and Ulster will not worry if the clock ticks away, because it won't be allowed. It won't stop until Nigel Owen says stop. And this is not doing Munster's cause any good, but Ulster need to get this scrum right, and they need to get it away.
They have to get quality ball, as I keep harping on about the back row. Have got to stay down, help their front five here, get that ball to number 8's feet, and then a 9-10, kick it as far down the pitch as they can, get themselves out of this danger zone.
Less than 8 minutes to go. Heaney, who's had a good game for Ulster, and that's a penalty against the Munster front row, and that will not help Munster's cause at all, because Ulster have a decent chance to clear this now. We have absolutely no idea what way the wind is blowing, or whether it's an Ulster faces or behind them, but James McKinney, first and foremost, must find his touch, and he takes no chance, and he's almost dropping that ball in our laps here in our less than comfortable covering position. Well, the Munster front row took that one down. I think it was the replacement James Cronin got himself penalised, under a bit of pressure from Adam Macklin, mind you. And I think that call came from the touchline. You can just see the left elbow dropping down. I mean, the loose head's role in that position is to keep the left elbow up. He's got a responsibility to keep that scrum up, and that elbow falling down to the ground there doesn't bode well for him, and the call came from the touch judge. McComb couldn't quite gather it. McComish did, but Munster have nailed the ailing Ulster flanker, but Mike McComish has done terrifically well on that. He went forward, and the referee has blown his whistle, and he's saying that it was a maul situation, and Ulster couldn't get the ball to the ground to make it a ruck, and Munster get the put into the scrum. But it is a lot further away from the Ulster line than the last scrum.
Just watch Paddy Butler, as the ball gets scrappily tapped back, he steps right in across the line and gets his arm in and on the ball, and assists in holding it up, and he just does enough to get in the way, hold up the ball, and then once it doesn't hit the ground and the ball can't get back on the Ulster side, the decision is given to Munster, and again they find themselves in a position with a scrum inside the Ulster half where they can make an attack happen and go through some phases. Expect some real intensity for the next 5-6 minutes from the Munster team, because they certainly aren't going to want to go down without a serious fight here in Thomond Park.
Well, Mike McComish has done well, given what looked like a rather nasty knee injury. Ulster have made a couple of replacements. Young scrum half Dave Shanahan has come on for Michael Heaney, and Kyle McCall has come on to win his third cap and his first at hooker. And with Niall Annette moving on at the end of this season, Kyle McCall is being groomed as a hooker. Former Irish schools and Irish under-20 prop forward, and what a good shove there by Ulster. A bit careless. Here comes Hanrahan. Oh, was half an eye for a gap. Murray gets it away quickly, misses out Tommy O'Donnell. This is James Downey.
Away.
Just about 5.5 minutes remaining, and that's a bit careless, but well gathered in by Munster and by Felix Jones. Murray trying to inject a little bit of something special into this. Here's Hanrahan. There's a bit of a fight on the floor here. Now it's Keith Earls steps inside Kyle McCall. Good support play. Hanrahan has sold a nice dummy. McElwain's defence wasn't terribly wonderful. Foley, Laulala got absolutely thumped in the middle of the back by the aggressive Michael Allen, but it's still there for Munster. Allen's got himself a bit hurt in that tackle. Under 5 minutes now. Murray. Munster still inside their own half. Keith Earls gets it away. Hanrahan. Oh, lovely angle run. Great support by Dougal. Now Casey Laulala. Munster starting to open up a little bit, and Ulster's defence really going to be tested here. Here comes the abrasive Dave Foley. Callum Black needs to roll away. He's a little bit too passive on the ground, and the referee is saying that's okay. It's all slow. Murray gets it away. Here's Hanrahan back inside to Tommy O'Donnell.
Keep your feet
Conor Joyce was the man who made the tackle. Paul O'Connell slowly picked it up.
Away, White.
Sets it up nicely. Murray. Dave Kilcoyne. Conor Murray. And he ran into his own player. Hanrahan. Keith Earls. Casey Laulala. Good tackle by Dave Shanahan. Murray again. JJ Hanrahan tries to set up Tommy O'Donnell. Kyle McCall was in there. Munster trying to do a little bit of stretching. That's gone loose. That's a bit careless. But well done by the South African, Gerhard van der Heever. Now it's Conor Murray. Hanrahan, a little bit of space. Michael Allen needs to be quick. Needs just to kick it. That's been knocked forward, I think. Referee's saying, no, not play on. It is knocked forward, and Munster will feel hard done by there. And I thought Michael Allen just left the chasing player, who was Dave Foley, a wee bit too much room, but as it turned out, it worked in Ulster's favour. That was a close shave.
Well, about 6 phases before that, Jim, Foley had moved out towards that touchline and got the message in along. To be fair to Allen, he wouldn't have had any idea, because he was trying to marshal the centre area, and there was back and forth centre play coming at him, and he had a lot of defensive work and tackles to make, so he had nobody on his outside to defend against Foley. It was a clever tactic, good call in, but unfortunately from Foley's point of view, he wasn't able to actually gather the ball. He would have hoped that it may have hung in the air a little bit longer, and with his height he could have gotten the advantage, but they managed to scramble the defence and force the knock on from a Munster point of view, and Ulster find themselves now in a situation again where they must defend the scrum and organise it, and Downey and Allen have sorted out their differences. Was it Allen?
It was McCluskey, I think.
McCluskey,
it was McCluskey. A couple of Ulster players suffering from cramp. Callum Black and Lewis Stevenson. Clock will start again.
Yeah, just set by now.
Callum Black did really good work in the last couple of scrums. He's really managed to get a little bit of a nudge in there on Ryan. Crucial here again that he can keep that loose head side forward, keep the back row defenders, in particular Dougal, away from the 9 and the 10, and offer an opportunity for McKinney to put a good boot on this one and clear their lines.
Foley has gone off the field. Number 19, Billy Holland, the son of the former Munster manager and former Irish international Jerry Holland, has come on to form a second row partnership with Paul O'Connell. Dave Shanahan's first put into the Ulster scrum. Now, can they secure their own ball and get it away? It's crucial. Munster get the squeeze on. That's the best Munster scrum of the evening. Well controlled at the back by Mike McComish, who's done wonderfully well, and the referee's given a penalty against Ulster. Or is it a knock forward? I think it's just a knock forward, is it? Hard to see, and there's a bit of nastiness is breaking out yet again. But it really doesn't matter to Ulster, nor indeed the way the results elsewhere have gone to Munster, the outcome of this game. But there's a lot of old-fashioned inter-provincial pride at stake here, and bragging rights. And remember, Ulster haven't defeated Munster home and away since the 2008-2009 season. The touch judges come in, and he may well have seen a little bit of foul play.
I think he saw some footwork. And
yeah, Gary Conway's come in to have a word with Nigel Owens, and Mike McComish is down yet again, and Ulster don't have a replacement for him.
There could easily be a reversal here. There's a knock-on initially from the base of the scrum, but then there was reactions afterwards, and I think Cronin came in with the boots and could well have stamped down at the back of the neck. I can't see which player it is that's down on the ground, but I'd say there could be a penalty given against for that.
He's on the wrong side, but I blowed up.
The penalty was against Ulster, and I have a feeling that having consulted with his touch judge, Nigel Owens, is going to reverse that.
Back you go.
And if that's the case, yes it is, then Munster have, well, not quite blown the chance, but blown a chance to win this game, because it looked very, very kickable. Well played, Mike McComish. He's really put himself about tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, you know, it was a knock-on. Munster found themselves in a good position. They were going to get the scrum. There was a reaction on the ground, and in came Cronin and stamped on the back of the neck or back area, right in front of the touch judge. Obvious to see. Gives Ulster a chance to clear their lines. They haven't made huge ground off it. I think they could have maybe gone for a little bit more distance than what they got. But I suppose with only, just over 2 minutes left, they want to just try and get this line out secure.
Well, Leinster have secured top spot. They've beaten a very gallant Edinburgh 15-13 at the RDS. Kyle McCall, first throw by him, and not a particularly distinguished one. And here come Munster again. And again, Ulster's inaccuracy at the line out has cost them dear. And Kyle McCall, if he's going to be converted into a top-class hooker, will need to get to some top-class instruction in line-out work. Here come Munster again. J.J. Henderson, that looks forward. That was light years forward, surely. Well, Ulster protesting, and Nigel Owens said it wasn't forward. Well, I have to disagree with him there. Here come Munster still again, a minute and a half to go. Conor Murray, Munster looking for another smash and grab here. Murray gets it away to Hanrahan. Back inside to Laulala, good tackle by big Neil McComb. James Downey. Taken on by the offender, Cronin, the replacement prop. Tommy O'Donnell, Conor Joyce slipped and then managed to get his man at the second attempt. We're trying to set up Hanrahan. I have a funny feeling for what could be a match-winning drop goal. Here's Hanrahan to win the game for Munster. It's scruffy and it's gone wide, and it's going to be a 22 dropout, and we're into the last minute of this game, and all Ulster really have to do is welly it down the field as far as they possibly can.
Yeah, and take their time going and retrieving the ball first. Yeah, it was set up from, well, you know, very, very early, you could see it, but a horrendous effort at it, and just completely snatched at it and dragged across the ball. I was amazed that wasn't a forward pass earlier, though, from a Munster point of view. It looked to me like it had gone at least 5 yards forward, but the referee was better positioned than we were. And as you said, Jim, I think it's a case of kick it as far down the pitch as you can, get a good white line defensively following it, and just pin them back.
Well, he's given them plenty of distance. Conor Murray, his fellow international lion Keith Earls. Oh, he's made good ground, but eventually got caught by Conor Joyce. Murray, 20 seconds remaining. Hanrahan, that's gone backward. Can Ulster secure possession? Indeed they can. That's good work by Ulster, but it was knocked forward first. And a little bit of looks like he's signalling to a bookmaker, doing a 6-4 the field signal there, Nigel Owens, but it was knocked forward by Ulster. Or was it by Munster? Well, it was one of the teams.
No, it was Munster initially. I think Varley may have got a hand on it, and then another Munster player who I couldn't see who quite it was, just knocked it on after that. In a situation here, this scrum has just got to be rock solid from an Ulster point of view. Get the ball to the base, and I think with the time gone into the red, a kick towards that far stand might be what they need.
That's all they need. They need to win the ball and kick it into touch, and they will have won an amazing game here. They very nearly lost that one. Good shove by Munster, back on the Ulster side, back to James McKinney, who puts it into the stand, and would you believe it, the weakest side Ulster have fielded in certainly recent memory have come down to Thomond Park, and they've won this game against all odds and against all expectations. But has the final whistle gone? Has a penalty been given? I'm not quite sure what's going on. I thought that was it all over, and I'm not sure what Nigel Owens is doing.
The Munster players swarmed around Nigel Owens straight away. They felt that the ball had been knocked on at the base of the scrum, and therefore it would then be a Munster put-in. So I think Nigel has gone upstairs just to see if there was a knock-on, or if it was a hand that maybe had kept it in to the scrum. Just see, yeah.
Oh, Sean Doyle. Well, that's actually red cardable, and that's a penalty. Now, it's a long way out, and they don't have time to kick it into touch. So the only thing left to Munster now is to kick for goal to win the game, and they have indicated that they were going to do that. Well, apology, dear listener, because I thought that Ulster had that game won, and Sean Doyle, well, committed a sin that's if this misses, it will be forgivable. If this goes over, he will be inconsolable, because his backside will be kicked.
It's a long way out, right on the halfway line with this swirling wind. The crowd have gone quiet. It's a difficult one.
Well, there was a certain Ronan John Ross O'Gara. You would have put your money on him to get this. This must be at the very edge of J.J. Hanrahan's range. This to snatch a dramatic victory for Munster. Here's Hanrahan. He's got underneath it. It's not going to make it. It's not going to make it, and Ulster will watch it and watch it and watch it, and it's gone dead, and that is going to be game over. And just to go back a minute or so, Ulster, against all the odds and with the weakest side for such a long time, have won this game, and you can see what it means to some of these Ulster players. Well, James McKinney was part and parcel of a victory that very, very few people could possibly have predicted. Last gasp dramatics by Munster, but they missed the final penalty that would have won them the game, and it's Ulster who won this game. The final score here at Wintry Thomond Park is Munster 17, and would you believe it, Ulster 19.